Well, in this edition of Mission Education, we are talking back to school anxiety. And it doesn't just affect the kids, it can affect a family as a whole. And joining me right now is Erin Wiley, owner of the Willow Center. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
So let's talk about it. I mean, obviously going back to school, we were talking before the interview, it can be challenging to kind of get out of the habit of enjoying some time off and not having all that added stress. So kind of talk about some tips you may have for people that could be struggling with that.
For sure. I think one of the best things, and I did this myself when my kids were little, is starting early. If you know those kids have to get up at 6:45 and they've been sleeping until 9, you probably want to start 2 or 3 weeks early, making them go to bed a little bit earlier, making them wake up a little bit earlier, and reminding them we're getting ready, it's time for a new routine. I think one of the important things in situations where we make our kids uncomfortable and they're not happy is instead of telling them they shouldn't feel that way or they're being ridiculous or to stop, just simply validating those emotions. And so if they are like, this stinks, we don't like it, it's not fun, you say, yeah, I bet it does. It's way more fun to be on vacation. That's probably really disappointing. I bet you don't like it. It's okay. You don't have to like it. You just have to do it. And I think that goes a lot further than what traditionally, especially moms will tell me they struggle with, which is yelling at their kids in the mornings.
I definitely relate to that thing of kind of relating to the fact that it's a struggle. I mean, everyone really doesn't like having more things added to their routine. So kind of talk about the science behind that. Why is going back so stressful?
Well, I mean, in general, humans are still mammals and primates. We have that same part of our brain as animals. And so the smartest thing we could possibly do is reproduce and make more of ourselves. And to do that, you need to stay safe and you need to consume as many calories as possible and do as little as possible. So we are all like wired to sit, look at social media, and eat high fat and high sugar foods and do as little as possible. So it really takes some drive and initiative, and I think maybe reframing what the goal is for kids and adults when we have to get something done we don't want to do. I think it's important to tie a reward that they might be interested in to the end goal. So I ask a lot of times when I see kids, junior high, high school students, what ultimately would you love to do with your life if you could do anything? And a lot of times kids have big dreams like being a horse veterinarian or being a professional swimmer, owning a big business and being a CEO. And I say, yeah, that's great. So getting good grades, what that will do is it disciplines you now. And it's not fun and it's difficult. But you're practicing so that later it's not so hard for you and then you can achieve those goals. Now, in general, it's hard for kids to have foresight that far ahead, but having those conversations, I think when they're younger, you can build on that all the time.
I will say that is the great silver lining to this, is that oftentimes we just view it as just another thing to do, but there are so many crucial skills that are just being provided by simply getting into the routine of going to school. So for the parents, let's talk about the parents, because we talked about the kids, but for parents, it can also be a struggle because they were going to work during the summer. They didn't have to worry about dropping the kids off. Now they have to do that. How do they handle it?
I mean, for sure, I'd say the same thing about getting yourself back on a routine. I also think self-care for parents is important. And for me as a therapist, that means really being mindful of the basics. Are you moving your body? I hesitate to say exercise because a lot of people aren't fans of working out. But you don't have to. You can just walk. You can just move and stretch your body. Our bodies are meant to move. That's an important way to keep your brain healthy. Are you eating some decent foods? Like, I'm a huge fan of ice cream and chocolate, but that can't be like your meal. So are you consuming enough protein and healthy complex carbs to help your brain function? Are you getting a decent night's sleep? If you're not, what do you need to do to improve that? And often, and I'm the same way, it means getting off your phones earlier, getting off tablets and devices, shutting your laptop, stop reading your email, and stop watching Netflix and TikTok. And that takes discipline. So I suggest, like with all habits that we might want to acquire, that you just do little by little. Maybe instead of going to bed at 11:30, you set a goal to be in bed by 11. Even if you read till 11:30, you're starting to slightly alter your habits. Those are the things that I think make the morning routine in particular so much easier. But even after school, if you're in a good frame of mind and you're healthy, then your kids being frustrated, angry, upset, won't rat you as much, and you can create a sense of peace in your home because you feel in control because you're healthy.
And obviously, there were so many downsides to even having to get back into these routines. But if you were to leave people with one positive about getting back into these routines, what is it?
Oh my goodness. I'm experiencing this now because I have a college age son who's home, and my house is so chaotic. It's just so wild. And even I am looking forward to him going back to school because you do stay up later, and that is fun. And you eat more garbagey food at a carnival, and that's fun. And you go to Cedar Point. But it's, in some ways, I think a lot of us feel like nothing gets accomplished toward goals, whether that's working out or training your dog or having a cleaner house or having a bedtime that's earlier so you can get up and meditate in the morning. Whatever goals you have are really difficult to accomplish in the structureless summer. And I think that is one of the biggest things that parents look forward to, is having a sense of rhythm and consistency, because humans do better with consistent routines. It's great if you can build in free time to do fun stuff. But knowing what's coming next and having a plan is really good for the brain. It leads to less anxiety, more security emotionally, and then I think we just lead a more peaceful and productive life.
You say parents look forward to that. I think I even look forward to that a little bit, just having the structure for sure. Erin Wiley of the Willow Center, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you. And that is this installment of Mission Education.